PWNcast.
Hi everybody, and welcome to episode 4 of the PWNcast. And I'm once again joined by the crazy drunk Irishman from New Jersey. What are you doing there, buddy? What? There we go. And then we renewed Matt's contract for another week.
So,
For another episode.
So
I'm here.
he's back
Again.
and we're here to give you awesome.
Shady's back. Tell a friend.
You hit me, asshole!
Dude, I'm faster than that. You should know by
I know
now.
better than to
So-
hit him.
We're back to talk to you again about video game and movie goodness.
Oh, yes.
All around stupidity that goes on in the world.
Well,
So-
there's too much of that. We
Funny
don't have that
you
much
should
time.
mention stupidity.
So,
God.
does anybody
Oh,
have any
God.
new segments that would like to go first? I introduced this damn thing. Somebody else go first.
Come on, crazy drunken man.
That's my segment. Go ahead, bring it up.
And it lands on the head of Capcom.
Ah!
Oh.
Right now, Matt made the mistake of bringing up Mega Man, so I'm bitter again.
Right. No, I think we should talk a little bit about Square-Enix.
Well, that's our main topic.
That's the main
for
topic
tonight.
for today.
Oh.
We will
Okay.
get. That's our big discussion for
Big
tonight.
discussion. Okay.
What,
Right.
tonight or today? You said tonight, I said today. Pick one.
Well,
Tonight,
This morning,
tonight, this morning, today, now, whatever.
who cares? On the 21st, it's all going to be over anyway.
Truth.
The moon,
Whatever.
The moon's going to
Whatever.
fall down, and then
Apocalypse party.
and I got to use my 24 masks to save the day because the fat guy has to save the day now. That's the culture we live in.
Yeah, apparently.
The truth
fat
is,
guy
I
saving
honestly
the day.
can't wait because, honestly, there are so many people gonna kill themselves. Being
absolutely.
Like, YOLO, getting in car crashes, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
sweet, one less.
I think I'm just going to sit around and play a game all day. I guess. It's 4 days until Christmas. I got presents to wrap.
I know,
I
right?
actually
exactly.
have presents to wrap this year because I actually bought things for
Exactly.
I wonder how
There's-
many people
there's
did not
Christmas
buy
prep
presents
to do.
for their families because they
Hoping-
thought they were gonna
exactly, hoping
die.
the apocalypse
I-
is gonna happen.
people. I got these student loans to fucking pay.
In that case, I kind of wish it would happen. I wouldn't have to pay my loans.
Collapse of government. No loans, no payments, no mortgage, no taxes. We're done.
Okay.
So, okay, I guess
So-
since nobody has any news they want to open up with, Steam Box, it's coming. Steam's
I'm-
making a console.
All right, so I had when we discussed this the other day, I had something occur to me when I went home. You know how they haven't said anything about Half-Life 3? It's been real under wraps. We just found out about Steam Box not long ago. If they release Half-Life 3, it's going to be a launch title with the Steam Box. They're going to have something to sell it.
I already told you that Half-Life 3 isn't happening. The voice actor for Gordon Freeman died.
Silent protagonist.
That's a joke.
because
No, really.
Gordon Freeman's a silent protagonist.
Yeah.
If you don't get it, never mind.
With
Whatever.
Valve coming out with their own home console, I have to say that this is a big mistake on their part.
They don't need to be jumping into the console war.
We're already
There's
flooded
no way.
when it comes to the console market anyway.
Yeah.
And then you have to take into account, how are they going to do this? You know,
I don't
Steam's
know.
primarily a PC gaming
Yeah.
service.
It is.
So
What? Wait, no, it's the
Yeah,
PC gaming
yeah,
service. Aside from, like, Origin, and that's it.
we don't speak of Origin here.
Because it's EA.
No, that's because they
EA
don't have any
games.
games besides EA games on there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, how is this going to work? Because, you know, consoles, they come out with a set of hardware, and
Yeah.
that's what they go with
Yeah,
for
and
years.
they run with it.
Are they going to constantly be releasing brand new parts for this thing to customize it? You know, like with PCs, how you can constantly
Which, I mean,
upgrade
that could
graphics
lead
cards?
to some really cool stuff, but it's not cost effective for the company or the consumer.
So
It
that
wouldn't work.
That's the only drawback I think that they're having on here is that number one, we already have we already have one out, and we have three more, including the Android console, the Ouya. which is coming out, powered by Android, plays
an
Android games.
console.
It is like a indie developer's paradise, pretty much, is what
That's
they're
cool.
advertising this thing.
I hadn't
for.
heard about that yet.
So
It actually, I went and looked it up after we discussed it the other day because I didn't know about it, and it actually looks like for indie games,
and that
it's
price
gonna
point,
be it's going to be a
that
huge
price
step in the
point-
right direction.
yeah. I mean, I'm seriously thinking about getting one when it does come out. I think it comes out sometime next summer or something. Somewhere around
there.
when all the kids are out of school and they can get summer jobs and stuff like
Exactly.
that. That's when they're shooting to put this out. Then you got whatever Sony's going to come up with, the new Xbox, the Wii U's already out.
Yeah.
To throw a fifth console in the run,
It's going to flood the market.
it's going to increase the amount of competition between all of these companies, but, competition can sometimes be a bad thing for us.
Well, not only that.
Well, it can be a bad thing for us.
Well,
Yeah.
Not necessarily for them in all cases.
Well, for them, usually, throwing another system in, if it's big enough to even get a hit, because these two companies are really well known at this point. PlayStation and Xbox are like the big ones. Then you have Nintendo, who kind of limps along.
Yeah, Nintendo, who went from being a gaming superpower to the gimpy cousin falling behind.
Right. This may not actually even make a dent on market prices for any of the other consoles, and completely kill themselves off. Really.
Yeah. And the only thing, Valve's a big enough company where I think they have enough. I don't want to say power, but they have enough stature where if they did it right, it could be relatively successful, and it could actually go somewhere.
I think they're just gonna have to start small, not aim too high, because any company who just throws their runnings into a lot like this, I mean, Xbox and PlayStation up top are very definitive in their systems. Everyone knows who they are. They should not aim too high. Should not go for we're gonna take the whole thing. No, aim low and build up. Get some credit to it. Just they obviously have credit to their name, but not as a new system.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they really have to. It's one of those things where they're either going to have to start extremely strong, have a great launch lineup to get people hooked on this thing,
Yep.
or they're really not going to be too successful for this.
Which, unfortunately, with the stuff that they would probably be using as launch titles, unless it's new stuff, it's already been released on the other consoles.
Yeah, exactly.
That would be the Orange Box games, would be Half-Life 2 and all of its
all
expansions.
of Steam's library.
Yeah.
That's more than just Valve. That's other third parties, with games like Dishonored or Hitman Absolution coming out,
I know.
or any of these other things. So you're going to have to look at the specs of the consoles coming out.
Yeah.
With the new Xbox and the new PlayStation, which, as far as I know, the Orbis doesn't have. Well, it may have a development kit floating around there somewhere, but it's not set in stone like the Xbox's development kit is. They pretty much sent those out and say, "This is what we're doing. Work with it."
Well, in all honesty, they need to, like you were talking about launch titles, they really, really need to get a couple of developers on board to have new releases that
make
are
exclusives.
Yeah, because if you're just building a console to play games that people can play on other consoles, you're wasting your time, I feel like. They better have some really, really exciting titles come out.
The other question is, disc or entirely digital like Steam is now?
It probably will be all digital.
Because, I mean, you can get a disc, like I have Alan Wake on disc, that I had to install Steam for. But you can get Alan Wake completely digital without having to go buy a disc.
Okay. And I think another big thing that's going to work to the Steam box's advantage, Steam sales. You know how insane some of those can get, and how cheap people can get those games.
Yeah.
This, I think, is going to be their number one selling point. Well, we have these crazy
we have
sales all the time.
Because, it's funny, I bought Orange Box the other day.
Yeah.
Found out a week before it was down, I think, like half price.
I bought Knights of the Old Republic 1 for, I think, about $2 on Steam one day.
Dang.
That was the cheapest I've ever seen that game ever.
Nice.
It was around $2.50 or something.
Street Fighter Cross Tekken is $13 now on Steam.
That's not bad.
For, like, I think...
I mean, it's a shit game, but that's not bad.
Yeah. I think it's, like, up until like, right before Christmas.
Is this launch worldwide or just within a few countries.
It may be within a few countries at first, but then I think they may, if they get enough
They're
out
gonna
of
try
those
and
few
branch
countries,
out.
like in North America and maybe in the UK and other countries like that.
Okay.
Japan's pretty much a no-go for them.
Why?
Because Japan won't give up on their Sony products.
Sony, yeah, right.
I mean, they treat every other console
This-
besides Nintendo and Sony consoles like shit over there.
I mean, this may be a stretch, to be honest, but really, I kind of foresee it being a potential issue. I mean, as all three of us know right now, there is a session that the world is meeting about, internet disclosure. How monitored will it become if certain countries stop downloading? That may be a hit.
That would be a huge hit to Steam and the console.
It may make other game companies right now who are pushing for an all-digital library think twice
yeah.
about what they're trying to do.
That's going to limit their audience.
Personally, as long as physical copies exist, for the most part, the majority of my library is going to be physical copies.
Yeah.
That's just how I am.
Exactly. It's
Right,
better
but-
to have the physical copy of the disc.
Right, but when you're trying to run an entire system on nothing but downloads, and the entire world goes, okay, we're going to start monitoring the internet, and downloading is not an option, that may be a very big issue to them.
Keep in mind, all digital game downloads, for example, take Xbox Live. If you want to download The Elder Scrolls V on your Xbox. Okay? So
a week later, you can finally start playing.
Exactly. So 15 gigs in a week later, and the cable company's already called saying they're shutting off your internet because you're using so much bandwidth.
I'm sorry, you're soaking up the entire.
You're playing it.
You're soaking up the entire state's bandwidth.
What happens if Microsoft decides to discontinue Xbox Live? In order to play games that are downloaded from Xbox Live, you have to be signed into Xbox Live. That's your key. That's how it verifies the key.
Yeah.
So if that service goes away, how do you verify your key? The games that you download truly aren't yours. You're just renting them until they feel like shutting the system off.
That's kind of like iTunes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, I mean, people who think that digital downloads is like a way of the future need to really think twice.
It's not, because you don't actually own anything.
You think you do, but
It's a glorified rental service.
Yeah,
I want to play this. You got to sign in first. But I bought
You can
it.
play it for as long as you want until I
But
decide that I don't want to use this system anymore.
But I bought it.
So, I mean, yeah.
But I bought it.
So there's definite ups and downs to this. I mean, downloading, cool. You don't have to go out and buy a disc. You don't even have to leave your house to get a hold of a product.
Well, there
However,
is one solution to that. Just have everything. Just have everything run off of the same Xbox Live networks. Have everything run off the same servers and update the servers every now and then to support the newer consoles.
I thought you were talking about a digital copy rewrite, and I was like, well, I mean, I guess
I mean, you could do it. But
slightly
it's a pain in the
non-legal,
ass.
but whatever.
You could.
Or we could just stop paying for their services and let them know
Yeah.
we want physical copies.
But
That's
but Steam doesn't have that issue. But
Not yet.
I don't. No, because I have Orange Box on my. I can pull it up right now. I have no internet. I can play Half-Life 2. I can play Portal. I can play the other games I have
good.
on Steam without internet because I own them. They are on a hard drive along with the Steam launcher.
Well, here's my point in bringing up the whole council and the committee thing right now.
Yeah.
A secondary thing that might happen to downloading is they may not take downloading away in every single country, but I promise you they'll start being trackers to them.
And they're going to start policing it.
It's so basically Xbox, like the way they do Xbox Live, you have to be
Xbox.
signed in. They may end up doing the exact same thing where you have to be signed in to play Steam accounts. I'm not saying it is going to happen.
But the thing you have to be signed into Steam to have access to your library.
Right.
But that's within the program. You still don't need internet for that.
you can install it to your hard drive.
Exactly, and it just it loads from there because it knows what's in your library.
I'm saying that if we get a crackdown on the internet,
it very, very well could
end up
be a
getting
hit to
tracked.
Steam.
And to be
that's
honest,
annoying.
what you're talking about, I don't really think this is that big of a deal. They've tried to do this before to no
They
avail.
have. But the
I don't
thing
think it's
is-
ever going to happen because when you think about it, when it comes to stuff like that, policing the internet, there's always a way around it. There
Proxies.
will always
there is
be a way.
I mean, you're right, but
Oh, the Blu-ray is so hard to crack. The security on it is so fantastic.
But I'm talking about the
Cracked in a week.
regular consumers, not people
Yeah.
who know their way around. Regular consumers are going to take the hit because how many people do you know out there that have no ability to be tech savvy. Like, no. A lot. Okay.
A lot.
They're not going to know
A
how to
whole
make
lot.
something their own and be able to play it if it has a tracker to it. They're going to
Exactly.
be like,
It's gonna be
I don't
like,
have
oh, I
internet. I
can't
guess
do
I can't
that."
play this today.
Yeah.
So you're right, there's ways to get around it, but I'm saying as a general consumer, they would take a hit.
Yeah, I personally, what it all boils down to is that I don't want things to go digital. I think Matt just pulled a Dukes of Hazzard with his car.
Back in and then back out.
Probably,
What's up, guys?
Probably
Dang,
should not have
that
filmed
was
outside
awesome.
because of that.
That was awesome.
Them Duke boys, I tell you what.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Steambox, yay or nay?
I will be the first to admit I'm a bit of a Valve fanboy because of my borderline obsession with Half-Life.
Borderline.
I'll
Borderline?
give it. Shut up! I really like Half-Life.
What you have is
so-
a disease.
Hey, hush.
Delusions of
Because I
grandeur.
am Gordon Freeman.
Delusions.
Exactly. Funny you should say delusions of grandeur. I am Gordon Freeman.
No, it's not delusions of grandeur. It's delusions of gander. Freaking geese just show up.
Hey, geese show
Okay,
up.
let's get off
There's
that
a goose
subject.
on the table.
What about you, Matt? Steambox, yay or nay?
I'm neutral right now. I don't know where to go with it.
I will say yes to the Steambox, but only if I get some tech specs first. I want to know what this thing's going to be packing.
We need to know what it's going to be able to do.
Yes for now, but if the tech specs come out and it's something like what, maybe an in-between what the new Xbox and the 360 is doing.
It's gonna have to be at
No.
least on par with the Sony and Microsoft new consoles. It's gonna have to be
Yeah,
at
that's
least
gonna
on
be
par
rough.
with those. It is gonna be rough for them.
Well, maybe,
But-
unless Xbox screws up.
Unless Microsoft drops the ball
Again?
and really
Sorry.
screws up.
I didn't say again. I know.
Oh, the
Or-
ring is blue this time!
Thank you for knowing exactly what I was talking about.
Or,
Damn it!
Or if Sony doesn't meet the doesn't do the necessary production cost stuff.
Yeah,
Because,
so
like we
Sony's going to have
discussed
to get
before,
the finances
They're
straight
gonna have to get
first.
they're gonna have to be below what 500, I think,
Well,
for their new console.
No,
in order
I would
make
have to
money?
say I would have to say 400 in order to properly compete.
Well, with Steve Jobs dead, Microsoft doesn't care anymore.
Ah,
Of course not.
jeez.
They got rid of the Charles Manson of the tech world. It's all good.
Yeah,
nice.
pretty much.
So, anybody else got any news? Nobody?
Well,
Nobody? Anybody? No. Yeah.
No, nobody
Whisper.
really has any news right
Yeah,
now.
this is fucking news. Well, actually, if you were to even turn on a television at the
I
time that
just-
we're recording this, chances are you probably know about the Connecticut elementary school shooting. If you're outside the U.S., I
Yeah,
understand
it's-
that you probably might not know that. Well, with 26 dead, 20 of them being kindergarten-age children,
I think it may have been 18.
it is.
But whatever.
It is pretty. It's a pretty sad
It's-
situation.
Yeah.
But, and, I'm not going to come out and try to go on spiel about gun control or anything political about that. The reason why I'm bringing this up on a primarily gaming podcast is because looking around the internet, I have seen, and even on some of the news outlets, they're pretty much saying that video games is a contributing factor to the violence that we see today, including this shooting. As I was telling both you two earlier, Mass Effect's Facebook page got a whole bunch of people posting on their wall, kind of like a mob, saying that this game trains kids to be, it trains people to go out and kill children, which, as Pat and I both know, we've both played the game
Exactly.
extensively.
There's nothing in there that would suggest that.
Exactly.
And I understand they have to find something to blame. I understand that, where you have to find something that you can use as a scapegoat. But if people would actually pay attention to what's in the game, if they would pay attention to the content of what they're blaming, there's nothing there.
That's
There's
not what
nothing
I'm mad
supporting
about.
it.
I'm not mad at the fact that they're targeting Mass Effect. I'm mad at the fact that they're just targeting video games as a whole.
Exactly.
They are under the impression that because there are games that are rated M for mature, like a war game or something like that, your
Exactly.
Call of Duties, your first-person shooters, all of this, And some games even have some nudity in it, like The Witcher 2 has some pretty gratuitous nudity in it.
Yes, it does.
They are blaming... You know, it's like you said, they're looking for a scapegoat.
Exactly.
Video
That's
games
all
are
it
evil
is.
now. Video games make people violent. You know?
But it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
And as far as the whole rated M games thing and training their children to kill people, if the parents would pay the fuck attention to what their kids were playing, this wouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, I mean, if you have to show your ID to buy a video game for your 6-year-old,
exactly,
maybe you should have a look at the case and see what's in it.
Like,
what kind of objectionable content?
You guys
inside.
know that I both have you guys both know that I have siblings.
Yeah,
right.
The oldest below me gets harassed because he doesn't play Call of Duty in an elementary school, and that's pathetic.
Well, at least he has good taste in shooting games.
Exactly.
And he won't play Call of Duty.
He'd rather play GoldenEye with me.
Okay,
Because
much
it's
better
GoldenEye.
taste.
And we play 007 Nightfire a lot. It's not a great 007 game, but we play a lot.
Well, on a more humorous note, if the parents actually did start looking at the games, Xbox Live would clear up a little bit, and it'd be
absolutely,
it'd be a lot more fun to play online.
As someone who owns both a 360 and a PlayStation 3 and plays first-person shooters on both of those consoles, I can tell you right now, Sony's community, I have never heard a kid. I have never heard anybody that sounds like they're under the age of 18. It's normally a male who sounds like an adult. Yeah. And they're not going, oh, well, you're a faggot, I raped your mom last night, and all of this, like Xbox Live. The community is better. Mm-hmm. I mean, granted, I am playing on free servers here. The service is free. Every once in a while it drops out. Sometimes your security can get compromised for over a month. But
whoops.
The community is better. And I enjoy playing with people on Sony's network than I do on the Xbox. I don't ever want to buy an FPS on my 360 and play it online again.
Dude, even Battlefield is terrible sometimes.
Well, because...
Well, on the Xbox, people don't know how to play the objective.
I know.
It's ridiculous.
Because everybody plays it like it's Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Because they play it like Call of Duty, and they don't need to, because Battlefield's not a piece of shit.
Well, I mean, when I look at Battlelog, whenever they have those dog tag challenges to see which platform can get the most of whatever, Xbox is always dead last. And it normally has something to do that's a team objective.
Oh, yeah,
so it just goes to show you that Xbox players really do not care about playing the objective in that game.
They don't care about teams. I think the worst one that I've had, because I play Xbox Live, Battlefield, and I was up in a chopper, and some guy jumped in on the gunner, and as a gunner, it's kind of your role to kill the things.
Shoot things.
Shoot things.
No,
kill
stuff. Things specifically that are trying to kill me on the ground.
Get rid of them.
Right?
I can only do so much. I only have a few missiles here. You've got the gun.
But however,
you've got a gun.
There is a time that when I'm being chased by a fucking airplane, that I'm not going to be low to the ground for them to kill people. I'm going to be dodging and shooting missiles. This guy was yelling at me because I wasn't going low enough to kill some dumbass who was sniping, not us, while I'm being chased by a fucking fighter pilot. Yeah.
No, you say... Yeah, you jump out of the helicopter. Say, "Is this low enough now?"
No.
That 308 is not going to hurt me, but that guy with the freaking cruise missiles,
right?
Yeah, exactly.
I know, right?
The 308's not going to touch me.
So I end up killing the jet because I'm a fucking awesome pilot.
How the hell? What did you do?
I'm actually pretty good at that.
Yeah, jets.
Yeah. So I dodged the jet, I killed the jet, and this guy is yelling at me. I literally turn off my headset. I put it down. The guy jumps out of my fucking copter, sends me a message saying, "You're a shitty pilot." And I'm just like, alright.
I wasn't even piloting.
I wasn't even piloting. But, like, I mean, I'm censoring all of the things he said about my mother and about my father and about my orphanage back in the Middle East.
Oh, you're just an orphan. Your parents had to adopt you out of a monastery out in fucking Saudi Arabia.
But I mean, it's just completely unnecessary. I personally don't like the Xbox community myself, and I play Xbox.
Yeah.
It's really bad. But going on what you said, yeah, I totally agree that parents should check the ratings. My parents did when I was a kid. I didn't play mature stuff until I was like 15. I mean, sometimes it's a little old for other people, but whatever, you know? I completely enjoyed my childhood.
Well, the way it kind of worked with me is that the very first time that I brought GoldenEye into my house, my mom had a fit. I was probably 5 years old, 5, 6 years old when I brought GoldenEye in the house, because that's when it came out.
Yeah.
I had a guy down the street who, old friend of mine, I guess. I don't really know whatever happened to him. But his parents would always buy him like the latest N64 games or whatever, and eventually he gravitated towards the PlayStation 2 and got all the new PS2 games, but
whatever.
he brought GoldenEye over one day after school, and he's like, "You should check this out. Have you ever played a game like this before?" I'm like, "No, I haven't." And, my mom had a fit after seeing what she saw. I mean, you look at GoldenEye today, and you're like, wow, look how far our violence has come.
Yeah, I know, right? But
Funny.
I would just like to point out that, as a kid, I got to play GoldenEye, but I had an older brother who had the game, so I got to play at a slightly early age. But I played all of the Super Smash Brothers. I played the Legend of Zelda games, the old, like the 64, and Link to the Past, which was Super Nintendo. I played,
Sorry.
and
Point for the Super Nintendo.
I definitely I played Chrono Trigger, which was amazing, but I primarily,
Another point for the SNES.
when I was trying to be mindless and have fun, I'd play Super Smash Bros. But you wouldn't see me trying to run around with a goddamn hammer trying to smash people in.
Yeah.
Why? Because even as a kid, I was smart enough to understand a video game is a video game.
Exactly.
And I'm not going to take a laser sword and knock somebody into the air with it.
There are stupid kids out there who
yeah,
cannot differentiate between reality and a video game. I'm not saying there aren't, but for the most part, we know what the hell a video game is.
Exactly. And okay, I'm kind of in the same boat that Matt is. Because for my younger years, I lived with my mother, and she was really lax about it. But most of what I played then was Pokemon and Donkey Kong 64 because I played that cartridge till it wouldn't run anymore. Ocarina of Time. I had GoldenEye strictly because I liked James Bond. I liked 007. I was like, this is a 007 game. I gotta try it. My mom was like, oh, it's really not that violent. Fine. And the two cartridges that got the most use was Donkey Kong 64 and Ocarina of Time, which sadly is broken now. This is why we don't throw valuable games down from the attic. Anyway,
he's looking for somebody.
I don't understand.
She knows what I'm talking about. She heard me.
Apparently, she's here. That's I've never met somebody that ninja.
Yeah.
Pat,
I'm scared.
Do you have any pills you need to take?
Yes.
For the longest time.
But yeah, I didn't play Resident Evil until I was in high school. I didn't play any of that stuff.
You may or may not remember this rating existing. Good luck trying to find it.
What?
The AO rating.
Oh my goodness.
Adults only rating.
Yes.
18 and up.
I remember when that existed.
I have only found one N64 cartridge that had that rating.
There's two. There's only two.
Well, I mean, that's all I've ever found. That's the only adults. I don't remember what it's called. That's the only thing I remember is the label on it. My mother, for the longest time when I was younger, could not differentiate between M, T, and AO. She thought anything rated T for teen up.
No touchy.
Exactly.
Yeah. No,
adults only.
No touchy.
This is not for you. This is for adults.
Exactly.
But Mom, adults don't play video games, said the 7-year-old me. Now look at me.
And you're like,
adults
okay, well, I was wrong.
Well, okay, we were all wrong.
We were all wrong.
Exactly.
Now I cry at the ending of Mass Effect 3, not because it's a sad ending, but because it's a shit ending.
Shitty ending is shitty.
I do want to point out that there is a definite link between video games and human interaction. Because Mario Kart came out when I was young, and there are some pretty shitty-ass drivers
and now. You drive. And now everyone drives like it's Mario Kart.
I think everybody
Where's
thinks...
the mushrooms?
I think all teenagers think, once they get a car, it's all Mario Kart from there. How many fucking teenage wrecks do we have now?
And the reason why we have so many drug users is because of Superman 64 and how they wanted to emulate that.
Probably.
It's a game that's busted and doesn't work.
Anyway.
Much like their habits. Anyway.
Oh, jeez.
So.
I'm gonna go roll my window up.
That sounds like a great idea. I will segue into our next point while you take the time to roll your goddamn window up. This is a podcast. You don't leave.
I disagree from far away.
Just keep in mind we do have to renew his contract.
That's true.
He can
We
refuse.
don't have to renew your contract, asshole.
No, I said we do have to renew his contract. Because without him, you remember the last episode?
Yeah.
When Matt wasn't around?
No, that was because we were supposed to have another person, but he had to cancel.
But still.
So
we don't need another freewheel episode.
We'll get him on here eventually. So, our main topic for tonight.
What?
After we find out what's wrong with Matt.
Oh, man. What did you do?
Nothing. Our main topic for tonight has been suggested by by 1 week contract Matt.
1 week contract Matt. There you go. 1 week contract Matt.
Ooh, it only took us like an hour to get there, but here we are.
Actually, what do we run? It's about a half an hour. It's all good.
Okay.
So, Square-Enix.
Square-Enix.
I assume you have something to say on this since it's your topic?
Sorry. We have two guys.
You guys are gonna piss.
Yes,
Oh,
actually,
man.
I don't know where to start out with the goods, the bads, and the fucking indifference. Wait, oh yeah, those are just bad too.
They're just bad, too.
Ah, man.
So, Square-Enix, I mean, what is your opinion on Square-Enix today?
Today. You know what? Yeah, I don't want to use language too much here, so I'm gonna calmly.
Okay, well then allow me to do it for you. Fuck those fucking cocksuckers. I never want to see their skanky asses again.
That's pretty well said. Okay. You have to understand, I grew up in a time where story was important.
And character development.
Character development was necessary, and maps were discoverable. So, how do you go from shitty, pixelated, plot-driven, character-developed stories that you could fucking roam around a world and do side missions and learn things about the world in which you're in, to a perfectly graphic piece of shit? Yeah, that's just my question. I'm gonna leave it there.
Well, here's what I have to tell you. It really does depend on which franchise you're talking about. Most of the franchises that Square Enix has today, I don't really have much interest in anymore as I did before. Case in point, the Dragon Quest series has pretty much gone to shit.
Yep. Well, they pretty much stopped making them, though, haven't they?
The Final Fantasy games have pretty much
Gone to shit.
Yes, Final Hallway 13.
Yeah.
Final Hallway. Yeah.
Final Hallway 1347.
Go.
For those of
Go.
you who
Go.
didn't catch the reference, that's pretty much what I was pointing out.
Yes, Final Fantasy. And they're probably the biggest offender because it's their biggest franchise.
Yeah.
They started, they started so well, and where the fuck did they go? What
Nowhere,
happened?
and that's the biggest problem. They didn't go anywhere.
Many people dispute where the end began. Where do you think
Was that the end of Final Fantasy 13?
No,
or
no,
the end of
the downfall,
the downfall of
of
Square
the
Enix.
Final Fantasy franchise.
Oh, of Final Fantasy.
Okay.
To be honest, quality-wise, I don't know, because I stopped enjoying them after 9. And then I enjoyed 12 again, and I was kind of like, oh, a glimmer of hope. And then 13 and 13-2 came out, and I was kind of like, okay, yeah, this isn't really what we were looking for. But it was like, I liked everything up to 7, 8, and 9. Because 9 was... I'm not sure what it is about 9. I think it might be the fact that they kind of took,
They took elements
tidbits
from all-
everything, and they threw it all together. I was like, okay, this is what it should be from here on out. Every game from now on in the Final Fantasy series should be like this. A little bit of something from each of the titles that they've done, and just continue it this way.
I mean, unlike 7 or 8, which some people, you have to get used to the upgrading system, how to learn abilities and things like that. 8, probably the biggest offender here.
Oh my god.
The junction system's
Yeah.
not exactly the best
And it's-
customization system I've ever played,
God.
but it's not the
at all.
worst.
And it's not the worst. You're right. It isn't the worst.
But 9 was streamlined.
And
you
then-
have a weapon. That
Exactly.
weapon gives you an ability if
Yeah.
you use it long enough
Exactly.
and fight enough with it. Then eventually you will master said ability.
And then when I was
That's
a kid, the whole materia in the weapon thing in 7 was a little odd to me. But that was when I was a kid. And I was like, why does it go in the sword? But
I kind of liked it. I mean,
no, it
wasn't
cool. It's
it
a good
wasn't
concept.
horrible.
No, I'm
And-
not saying it was bad. It was just I was a kid, and I was like, how do you put the ball of stuff in the sword?
But
And I couldn't get my head around that.
for 7, I actually liked it.
I was
a lot.
an idiot.
I mean, I understand you were a kid then, but really, it was a very fairly
No,
understandable.
it was understandable. It was very
concept.
very upfront with it. It was like, this is what you wanted to do. Put this on the sword,
Like,
and you're done.
Unfortunately, after that, it kind of, got more complicated. But I really liked that about 7. It was very generally easy to understand how the material worked.
Except, okay, it was generally easy, except the plot line.
Here's my thing.
No, the material.
The plot line
was a
little.
little. Yeah, it wasn't easy to understand.
I have with me when it comes to the downfall of the Final Fantasy series, it really does depend on which department you're talking about. When it comes to characters, it started going downhill once Tetsuya Nomura started jumping into the picture with characters like you see in 7.
Cloud.
Frankly, I don't really like the characters in 7 that much. I'm not saying that I hate Final Fantasy 7,
No, it's just not your cup
but
of tea.
no,
You just
the
don't
game
like it.
is so
Your preference.
overhyped and
Which
is
it really
held in
is.
such a
I
high
mean-
regard that I look at this game and I go, 8,
Why?
9 are better than this. 12's better than this.
I'll be completely upfront about it. 7 is my personal favorite Final Fantasy game. It's overhyped as hell, and 7 and 8 are mechanically, graphically, plot-wise, they're better than 7. But 7 was the first one I completed by myself, so I kind of was like, yeah, I conquered this, and I stuck with it.
Personally, it was also my favorite, but it was because of the plot. I liked what they did with the character. Like, he wasn't himself.
Oh, the villain has mommy issues, so
Yeah, the
he wants to
villain-
destroy the
has
planet.
The villain had mommy issues, but the thing about his mommy issues was his mommy wasn't human.
Yeah,
yeah.
His mommy was something different, complete. I thought it was really cool. A
Yeah.
lot of the twists and turns they took you through.
I like the plotline for 7. I like the storyline of 7. I have Crisis Core. I had 7. I had 7. I have Crisis Core. I had 7. I made the mistake of buying Dirge of Cerberus. That didn't stay in my house for long.
Final Fantasy may cry!
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly.
That was bad.
Yeah, exactly. Square-Enix is crying.
I think the slight redemption they had after a couple of games that they made was Crisis Core. I think Crisis Core was a fantastic element to their... Because it was an entirely
but hold
new
on.
system.
Aside from it being a Final Fantasy VII game, which I like the character of Zack a lot more than I like Cloud, Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core sorry, I gotta get it right. Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII was a good RPG.
It was entirely different. It was a brand new system. It was a
Exactly.
brand new movement.
It was a good
because
RPG.
it was PSP, they didn't make it go so turn-based. They
Exactly.
were like,
it
let's
was more,
make it
It was
animated.
faster paced. It was like Final Fantasy VII meets Star Ocean.
Yeah.
It was
I
an
liked
action
it.
RPG with a Final Fantasy coat of paint.
And with you mentioning Crisis Core, that brings another point to the reason why I really don't enjoy 7 that much.
Oh, because
that
they
game's
keep doing
universe
everything.
gets way too much attention than it deserves.
Yeah.
And
8 warranted a sequel. Well, yeah, it could have.
well,
but
8, their plot kind of set it up so that way it was an endless loop that it could continuously
9 could have
happen
had a
again.
sequel.
Yeah, it could have. But the thing about 7 is, apart from the fact that it gets way too much attention from Square-Enix,
Yeah.
the second part in that is the fan base.
Yeah.
The fanboys for that game are so ridiculous that they don't even acknowledge the fact
That there are other Final Fantasy games.
before 7.
Yeah.
Personally, my favorite Final Fantasy V. I think that's the best Final Fantasy I have ever played.
I've heard
It
a lot
was-
about it.
It was the first time we got a job system, worked fantastic,
Yeah.
it was addicting, the villain
It
was halfway
really-
decent,
5 was good.
the plot was halfway
I need to
decent,
finish that one.
great
I need to finish
soundtrack,
that.
one of my favorite soundtracks out of the entire franchise, better soundtrack than 7 in my opinion.
Which of the?
I would agree with that.
How many of the older Final? How many of the older Final Fantasies have you played?
I played 2. I actually did play 2.
I fucking love 2.
2 doesn't get enough love as a lot.
No, it
A lot of
doesn't.
people do take a dump on 2, and I really don't know why.
Because like 7 is I don't know. I have a couple different Final Fantasy
And to
games
not
that I
confuse
like.
people, when we say 2, we don't mean SNES 2, we mean actual Final Fantasy 2, not
Right.
Final Fantasy 4.
No, the legit Final Fantasy
Yeah.
2.
Right. But I'm not gonna lie. I don't care if you guys crucify me for this, but my second favorite Final Fantasy game of all time is Tactics.
That's perfectly
okay.
Tactics is an awesome game.
Wait, hold on.
What are you doing?
I'm just gonna show them I just bought War of the Lions the other day.
Nice. But
because I want to Final
loved
Fantasy
it.
Tactics again.
It was fun. It was really, really time consuming, so I
yeah.
invested a lot of
God.
myself in the game.
So much time in that game.
I think that's one of the main components of whether someone likes the game or not is how much time they actually invest in the game. And that one fucking sucked my soul in. I was just like,
God!
After school,
once you get in,
turn.
once you get within like the first half hour of that game done, you're sucked in. You're not.
Oh yeah, I know.
You're completely
okay.
That game owns you. Okay, it slaps a spike collar on you. Says you're mine now.
Okay,
and you don't do anything else.
So, which Final Fantasy game did you guys play first that introduced you to the franchise?
Mine was Tactics.
Tactics. Okay. What about you?
The first one I played, crap. It was
Well-
SNES too.
So it had to have been 4 or 6, or Mystic Quest.
One
if
with
you...
Furion.
Okay, that was never on the SNES.
Was it?
That was Final Fantasy II. That didn't show up until the Origins collection. You think you're
Wait.
Yeah. Final Fantasy II
No.
didn't show up until like 2000 over here.
It was on the NES.
No, it was
Or
on.
not the NES.
There were only 2 numbered Final Fantasy games that came out. Final Fantasy IV was Cecil, and
It
3,
no,
which
it
was
wasn't.
6, that had Lena and other people in there.
No. Was it maybe the first one?
That was on the NES.
Yeah, it was on the NES. I think it may have been the first one.
Oh, there you go. I mean,
Yeah, no, because I remember I named all the characters after my friends.
Oh,
Yeah, it was the first one because my my cousin was trying to like help me walk me through it.
Well,
and I didn't understand any of it. I was
the
like, this
very-
is kind of cool, but
the very
what?
first Final Fantasy game that I got introduced to, and probably the person that I want to give credit to when it comes to introducing me to this franchise, because he used to be really big into it, is that my cousin Logan was really big into Final Fantasy. Really not sure anymore. I haven't really spoke to him in a few years. But one day I saw him playing 8. That was not the first one that I played. I was like, okay, this looks pretty cool. I just got a PlayStation 1. I kind of want to upgrade from Spyro the Dragon.
Like, yeah.
Spyro the Dragon!
Spyro the Dragon!
Pretty much. So,
It's a dragon!
one day my grandmother takes me to a Blockbuster video, and I'm looking through the PlayStation game section looking for a game to rent because she said that I could rent one.
Yeah.
And I see Final Fantasy IX there on the shelf. I'm like, why not? So, I wound up renting that, and I managed to get to the end of the first disc before I had to take it back, and that game was that was the one that got me involved in the franchise. So I really have a lot of respect for 9. Granted, looking at it now, character design-wise, it's not really that good. I don't like chibi people that much.
Nice.
But that's not necessarily my thing. I think they should have stuck to what they did with 8, where it had somewhat realistic character models.
Where they were actual people. So what was this Final Fantasy game that just disappointed you the most?
13. 13 was hyped up so much. That game looked fantastic. I
Exactly.
Years before that.
And it was coming. It was playing off of it was coming right on the heels of 12, and it was. Because 12 was really good.
And 12 is another one that doesn't get enough love.
No, 12 doesn't get enough love. 12 doesn't get any love at all.
It's Star Wars and Final Fantasy
exactly.
put together. What the hell else do you want
How can you
from
not
us?
enjoy it? I'm not saying you need to like it. At least, pay attention to the story. You can't not have...
I have a big thing against 12, though.
Really? You do?
I loved the graphics. The graphics were fantastic. The idea for the storyline, I didn't finish it, by the way. I did not finish 12.
I haven't finished it either.
Because
I have.
I couldn't
Yeah, no, I
play
haven't
it.
finished 12 either.
I couldn't play it. My reasoning is this. After Crisis Core... Didn't it come after Crisis Core, or was it before?
12, I think, was 2004.
When was it?
It was before Crisis Core.
It was before Crisis Core.
Yeah, it
you're
was
right.
before Crisis
I'm
Core.
thinking of Crisis Core now, but on a totally different note, the attack not attack. Wow, the battle system. I hated it.
Yeah, it played a lot like an MMO, and
it is a little wonky. And
once you get to a certain point with the Gambit system, you can play the game on autopilot.
The game does everything for you.
That's something I very much despise. I would rather actually play the game. 2, you get to move around. You almost have free roam in a fight, but it's still turn-based.
Yeah.
Honestly, I felt like
in a roundabout way, but I get what you're saying. It is a little weird.
My biggest thing against it was the battle system. If you get free range of movement, I should have free range of attacks.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to let me move around, then let me attack on my own. Don't make me go hit attack, wait for bar to completely fill up.
Exactly.
Move in
then
and hit.
you attack.
And then, because I also got to move around, I was like, cool, maybe I can dodge stuff. Nope.
You can't.
You can't dodge anything.
No.
What's the point of moving around? Just go back to a turn-based system.
It should have been what Crisis Core became.
Yeah, that's
where you push a button to attack.
That's why I thought of Crisis Core, but
there you go.
I thought 12 was going to be the Crisis Core until I started playing it. I was really excited.
I kind of muscled my way past it and played what I did play for the storyline.
However, it was not my most disappointing. I honestly wanted to say one of them was my most disappointing, but I didn't expect much out of it. It was just so terrible, it's worth mentioning. 10-2.
Holy crap!
It didn't.
Holy crap!
It did not disappoint me in the way that I expected much out of it. But it disappointed me in the way that the new low that they hit had that point.
To be honest with both of you, Final Fantasy X is the top game on my shit list in that franchise.
I'm very well aware of that.
Yeah.
10,
not a fan.
I know a couple people who are like, "Oh my god, 10's amazing."
I don't like 10. I don't like this universe.
I played.
Love the story in it. That's what
I played the intro, and then I remember. I ended up watching the trailer again for some strange reason, and it showed something where it showed Titus, right? Titus, whatever. Where he goes, and I was done. Yeah, I was done. I was done. I played the intro. I saw. What's his name? Orin? Yeah. Orin. Yeah, I saw Orin, because people were like, you need to play it at least for Orin.
People complain about Final Fantasy 13 being linear, then they've obviously never played Final Fantasy 10. It's the same damn thing.
It is very linear.
Yeah.
12? I get lost trying to find the main quest.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
12,
true.
You're like, where do I go?
There's so much to see.
I give them that. They went back to... I know you don't personally like 7 that much, but they kind of went back to 7 with 12. They made it really freaking open as to where you could go.
You could go anywhere, and they did the same thing with 8, too. You could go anywhere you wanted. I mean,
I felt it a little more constricted with 8, but
because it was clearer to find out where you were supposed to go, and the overworld was kind of like.
And it's not always bad to be constricted in where you go in certain cases. But I'm just saying, like the openness, 12 and 7 were like the two most open. They were,
yeah.
They were wonderfully.
How many times did the Saurian in the desert in 12 kill you?
I don't really remember.
See, exactly. You run into it without even knowing it's there the first time.
Yeah, that was annoying.
I mean, I walked up to it, I'm like, oh, it's a dinosaur. I didn't know it was going to attack me.
It's a dragon.
It's a dragon.
I was like, oh, a dinosaur. I'm going to go talk to it or something. I don't know. It's a dinosaur. I'm going to go see it. Because that was the big thing for 12 for me was the creatures. Because, like, I sat there for 10 minutes and I got killed by one of the werewolves because I was looking at the character model. Because I was like, oh, this is a really cool-looking monster. And it was killing me. And then I walked up the story and I'm like, oh my god, it's a really cool-looking dinosaur. And it was like, ah! And I'm dead.
With me, with 12, it was like, hey, look, let's take the world of tactics with Ivalice and let's make a real
game.
Big Final Fantasy game out of it, a numbered one. It was nice to see that stuff come to life.
Because Ivalice doesn't really...
To see the judges come to life and find out that they're the enforcers in the land and all of this.
Don't tell me too much. I do have to finish it, and I'm going to give it a chance again.
Oh, well, there's a plot twist, but I'm not going to spoil it for you.
Please don't. I will give it a chance again. Very soon.
I've got the Steelbook at home. I need to finish it.
Yeah, when that game came out, I got the Collector's Edition Steelbook as well, which came with the preview disc for all the Final Fantasy 13 stuff they were going to come out with, which included 13... Versus 13. And
Versus 13.
Oh, God. You said the magic word.
You did.
Unleash the dragons!
God fucking damn it! I am so angry.
Matt. Okay,
I've lost
my
interest in the game
bitterness
because I know it's never coming out.
Wait, my bitterness to Capcom for Mega Man Legends 3, multiply that by about 500, and you get Matt's attitude for Square Enix about versus 13. He's really bitter. He's pissed.
When they came out with 13, they fucked it up entirely.
Matt's pissed.
Entirely. And I said that I was going to try and hold my language, but at this point, it's done. They fucked up 13 so bad they gave us 13-2. Like, they fucked it up so bad they gave us 13-2.
And that wasn't even planned.
Oh,
nope.
That was not planned, and I haven't heard shit since. Like, I haven't heard anything about 13-2 because no one's bought that shit.
I beat it.
Whatever. I don't even care.
I'm so sorry.
I don't even care.
Do you
The
need
game
McNuggets?
only takes like 15 hours.
I think you need McNuggets.
Okay,
I do need McNuggets after I've been raped.
After you've been raped, you need
13
McNuggets.
Versus was 13, but amazing. See, we got to see the graphics for 13 and 13 Versus at the exact same time. Both trailers were released very... Weren't they like side by side released?
What happened is that
when
when 12 came out, when the collector's edition came out on the bonus disc, they pretty much had this whole thing about how they were going to do 13. 13 was going to be a saga of 3 games called the Fabula Nova Crystallis Trilogy.
Yeah.
It was going to be 13 versus 13 and what now is Type O.
Type O.
Which has never been released in North America anyway.
I'm under the impression that I'm of the understanding it's not going to get a US release.
It may or may not. We don't know. It's on the PSP. We don't know.
Wait.
But now, here's what we have. We have 13. We have 13-2. 13-3 comes out sometime in March
Final
of April.
Fantasy Majora's Mask.
Yeah, Final Fantasy 13 Majora's Mask. No sign of Versus 13.
Yeah.
Nope.
Versus 13 looked like it was going to be the most... It looked like it was going to save Square Enix. That's what
because
that game
in the
looked
trailer
like.
they had the dude, it was like, I think it was like a prince or something, he had the 7 swords on him, he was like...
When they
killing
showed
everything,
off
and
Versus 13, we didn't know how bad 13 was because that game hadn't come out either. It got delayed.
No.
Right.
We were thinking, oh shit, we've got these 2 games that are going to be completely badass. Then we get 13 and it's like...
What'd you do?
No.
What happened to the thing in the video with the pew pew what happened?
I remember when the
it's...
trailers for 13 were coming out and stuff like that, and looking at that, I'm like, this game's going to be fucking badass.
It has
exactly.
Like,
it had potential.
The way you got to see that game, I was so excited. I didn't, like, I saw 13, not Versus, but just 13, and I saw Versus, and not because the main gender role switched, I was so much more pumped for Versus 13 because it looked like it just had a better plot from the beginning. And then all of a sudden it's like, cool, so we're going to make it. Nope, we're delaying it. Nope, we're delaying it. And now it's like a fucking Phantom game.
The game has been announced for 7 years.
It's got to fucking end.
They were advertising this as, we're going to release this not too long after the PS3 hits the market. Guys?
It's been a while.
The console generation's almost over.
Yeah.
Where's the game?
Unless they're wanting to save it for one of those things where the PS3 goes out with a bang.
Goes out with a... Wait, why?
At this point, it looks like it's going to go out with a dying whimper.
Yeah.
But, and you know, we've gone so long on Final Fantasy that we haven't even talked about other franchises.
Like what?
Like Kingdom Hearts.
Oh, Kingdom Hearts. That was a beautiful one.
1 and 2 is good, but here's what I have to say to Square Enix. Stop with the fucking spin-offs. I don't give a shit. I want Kingdom Hearts 3.
But hang on, because there is one spin-off that is canon.
Well, they're all canon according to them.
Well, but no. By the way, the plot is supposed to work. Birth by Sleep is canon because it explains Roxas from 2.
Well, Chain of Memories is canon too, but
they erased his memory his memory, so it didn't have to be canon.
But here's the thing.
But they worked it into Final Fantasy. They worked it into Kingdom Hearts 2 anyway.
I don't like battle systems that involve cards.
No, it's just ridiculous.
It's stupid.
I'm not gonna lie, I had fun playing it.
Metal Gear
was
Acid
fun,
is a horrible game.
Oh my god, Metal Gear Acid is terrible.
cards!
I paid money for that! I paid for that! I thought it was Metal Gear!
I was in a pool.
But I actually paid money for Metal Gear Acid 2, and I thought it was Metal Gear. I thought it was Metal Gear, and I was
my
like...
condolences, sir.
I started the game, and it was like, yeah, this is how it works. And then I'm like, awesome, I can sneak around. They're like, no, you can't move because you don't have cards. Wait, what?
I mean, when...
I'm sorry.
When the original Kingdom Hearts was announced, and looking at that, I'm like, Disney characters? Fucking really? Disney characters? Square, what are you doing? Square, stop.
They made it work.
Yeah,
They did make it work.
It worked nice. It was a pretty good blend, and it's a fun game to play.
1 and 2 were
Pause.
really good, but...
Pause.
Yeah.
10-second recognition of Disney taking over. Continue.
Disney's like Harbinger from Mass Effect. We are assuming direct control. Just taking it away. I mean,
this is mine now.
It needs Star Wars and Marvel Comics like get grabbed by this giant Leviathan.
It needed to be said
With
because of Star Wars.
Yeah. It's a Leviathan with Mickey Mouse
ears.
Pretty much.
And it looks like Howard the Duck a little bit. It's kind of weird.
That-
Anyway.
But
But
Oh, hi, Marvel.
so Kingdom Hearts. Here's the thing. I don't want spin-offs. I don't want expanded universe.
We need Kingdom Hearts 3.
All right.
Which...
If I wanted expanded universe, I'd go read a Star Wars book. Okay? There's
Wow.
plenty. There's hundreds of those,
yeah, it's true.
and
Yeah.
now none of them no longer matter because Disney. Anyway,
Which there is only one problem about Kingdom Hearts 3. Unless you play Birth by Sleep, Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, and you play Dream Drop Distance, you're not going to understand
well,
some of what's going on.
it's funny you should bring that up because Square-Enix has the intention of putting out 2 separate HD collections for the Kingdom Hearts series.
I need a PS3.
Yes, PS3 exclusives, mind
nice.
you.
PS3.
It's yeah.
What are the two What are the two sets going to be?
I believe they've only announced what's in the first one. It's going to be an HD remix of the first one, Chain of Memories,
Okay.
and then just like 358.
Oh God, why?
The 358 one. I don't remember.
358 over 2 days. It's the story of Roxas and his time in the organization.
Well,
oh my God!
Yeah.
Anyway,
it seems like they're going like, "Hey, look at this. We're putting them all in order for you, Danny, so you don't get confused."
but they're not.
So I'm like,
but-
"Oh, thank you very much."
But they're not putting them in order because the order is supposed to be Birth by Sleep, Kingdom Hearts 1, Chain of Memories, 358 days, 2, 3D, and then Kingdom Hearts 3 the Keyblade.
I think
That's how it's supposed to go.
I think what the second collection's going to be is 2, Dream Drop, and Birth by Sleep.
Yeah.
I really do think that's going to be the other collection.
Which is going to screw up the order.
Well, I mean, not necessarily. Which way were they released?
But you said here we're
I
giving
know.
them to you in order. Birth by Sleep should be first because it's the beginning of the plot.
Well, not really, because people are going to be lost, chances are, if they play Birth by Sleep, because it's going to introduce characters that we don't know yet.
I guess, yeah. But I mean, that's the point of a prequel.
So, well, yeah, but normally, in order to understand a prequel, you got to watch, the original stuff.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So, I mean, do you think
I'm looking at it as I know the entire story, and I'm thinking they should have started with Birth by Sleep because it would have been. It's the beginning of the story. They just decided to do it later on down the road.
Probably the only exception to what I just said would probably be the Star Wars movies. Oh, look, these movies are getting progressively worse. Then all of a sudden they get really, really good towards the end. The second half gets really good.
Why is the second half better than the first half? Wait. What happened to the...
Well, to be fair, Revenge of the Sith really wasn't that bad. I mean, yeah, acting is still horrible in it, but at least it had violence.
They messed up Darth Vader.
It had Anakin Skywalker
They
killing
messed up Vader.
which is something horrible to say
They messed
right now.
up Vader.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, hey, we blame Star Wars then.
Oh,
they
yeah,
messed,
would
they
probably-
messed up Vader.
Well,
They
like
can't
you're
blame
saying
Star
that.
Wars. Disney's behind it, and they're behind the press. I'm just kidding.
Oh!
I took it too far.
I blame George Lucas because that man
Dang.
should not be allowed to direct any of his creations.
Not anymore.
None of them.
Nope.
I agree.
That directing privilege is revoked.
That was what was wrong
All right,
with the
so
prequel trilogies.
trying to steer us back onto Square Enix.
Actually, I'm
recently
damn.
Square Enix has been snatching up IPs left and right. They've been trying Tomb Raider and the other IPs that they've
Oh, they're just
tried
publishing
to get.
those.
But
They're just publishing.
but we all know why they're publishing.
Because they need money.
Exactly.
Because earthquakes and shitty games equal I have no money.
Pretty much.
But what's your... Do you have an opinion on that? Or is it just kind of a, okay, whatever, make money?
Deus Ex Human Revolution, I'll play the other Deus Ex games instead, and Tomb Raider hasn't been relevant in almost a decade, so I could really give two shits about that. What else? Oh, what was the name of that one game? Crap, what was it? Oh, there was another RPG Square-Enix came out with recently on the 360. Well, it wasn't really recent, but it was within the past few years. The Last Remnant, yeah, fuck that game. And then there's your favorite IP that I can't believe we haven't talked about.
Oh, no, I was about to steer us right there.
Steer right towards it.
Allow me to let you ride on my Segway, sir.
Go for it. My favorite Square game. Actually, more so than 7. More so than... wow. No, yeah.
Harkening back to the days when Square actually meant something.
Squaresoft. Anyway,
Dave Grohl just shows up, keeps on screaming, the best.
Yeah,
the best.
The best! The best! The best! Anyway.
My favorite game, in fact, it's still my favorite RPG of all time, Chrono Trigger.
Which, one of the better RPGs
pretty
much ever existed.
Too bad the sequel retcons the original game and then shits on its legacy.
Yeah, whatever. Anyway.
You're the first game? No, hold on.
So, I'm gonna elaborate. See, that game was absolutely beautiful. It had a somewhat, movable universe.
Had everything.
You could move around in it. There wasn't a whole hell of a lot of side missions, and the story didn't take incredibly long to beat. On another note, the characters all had a beautiful development. The game, I personally loved the fight system in it. How you got the magic, how you used your magic, how you could cut it, how you could absorb it, everything like that. It was wonderful. In fact, it was so awesome. There are a good 5 games out there right now that I know that are fan-made games of Chrono Trigger that expand on the universe itself, and it's beautiful. Now, what these guys said about Chrono Cross, whatever. Whatever. Look,
whatever.
I will admit to this.
It doesn't exist.
It absolutely had a
I'm sorry, what? What's
It had a shit-tastic battle system. It fucking sucked. The way they used magic, I don't even think it was material. It's like not material or magic or anything like that. It just, you got to use things.
You just use stuff. It's just like...
It's Quest 64.
It was shit.
Oh, God.
However, I will say that I absolutely loved the storyline all the way through. If you played the game all the way through and you got to that ending that shifted the entire game's meaning, then you understand that the game was actually not as bad as it was made out to be. You just had to make it to the ending.
Yeah.
You had to make it to the right ending.
Well, that's a marathon endurance that I don't think I'm going to be
attempting. Yeah, I agree. It took a little time.
I don't care if it is $5 on PSN. It's not worth $5.
However, you must admit that the soundtrack to that game was one of the most glorious things you've ever heard.
Or have you listened to it? Yeah, I've heard it.
Oh, dude, the soundtrack was amazing.
I like the original a lot better, though, with Trigger.
I love
think
Triggers.
Chrono Trigger has one of the most memorable RPG soundtracks I've ever heard.
Really?
Even more so than other Final Fantasy games.
You didn't play Chrono Cross very much, though. Like, you didn't get through a lot of it.
No, I probably played about 3 hours of it.
Okay, that game, honestly, I'm not being biased here. I've played a lot of RPGs. That game actually has the most memorable soundtrack to me. Like, there's a lot of violins, there's a lot of real instrument, and it's just good. It really is good. If you give it, not the game a chance, at least listen to the soundtrack. Yes.
Mosquitoes!
So many mosquitoes!
Okay. So in conclusion about Square Enix, Final Fantasy, get your shit together. I'm sure you want another...
Make another Chrono game.
If they were smarter, they would do 3 things. My bad. First, they would give us verses and just shut the fuck up and get it out. 2, they wouldn't fucking...
Well, if you insist.
They wouldn't fucking tease us about Final Fantasy VII having a complete and utter
overhaul.
Mastered remake. And thirdly, make a goddamn third Chrono Trigger game with compatible story, because that was a really, really good storyline. And people would buy it and play it. It was wonderful.
I'd buy it.
Oh yeah.
I'd have to.
And
play
just as
Chrono
general
Cross,
advice,
but-
stop fucking sucking.
Yes.
Stop
Please,
sucking.
get your shit together.
Exactly.
My thing is,
Man.
Final Fantasy, get your shit together. Like you, in fact, you know what? Here's what would compel me to play Chrono Cross again. Re-release them in HD.
Okay.
I'd play both of them then. Or at least Chrono Cross in HD. That'll give me an incentive to play it.
Right.
Chrono Trigger would
Get
probably
through
be
the
a little
battle
harder.
system. It's a little weird, but it's nice.
Do that. Give me a goddamn Kingdom Hearts game that has a number that has something to do with the story, not.
Yeah, you stole mine, dang!
I don't want to. There should
Yeah, we
not
don't
be
need
a
another-
division problem in my title.
Yeah.
For those of us who flunked math class and doing podcasts.
Funny thing is, that's the only class Danny passed.
Anyway, Square-Enix, the third
Just-
birthday doesn't count. Make a real Parasite Eve game.
They can't do that.
Why not?
Then they'd have to work.
Oh,
Make a real Parasite Eve game. We had to work. They have to work at that.
If you want to make money, Square Enix, do what Capcom and other game companies are doing. Re-release shit in
Re-release
HD. People
everything.
will buy it.
People will buy it.
slap a new coat of paint on
Let
Final
me
Fantasy
play.
9.
Let me play the PSP ports of 1 and 2. Let me translate
Which
the PSP.
those are beautiful.
Translate
Oh my God.
the PSP port of Final Fantasy 3 and bring it over here for me to download.
Danny, the PSP ports of 1 and 2 are gorgeous.
They're they're a little bit of an improvement over what I already have in the Origins collection, but still bonus dungeons and such.
They're nice.
But let me state for our viewers something,
I-
though, that I did actually read, and this goes along with you telling them to remake things in HD. This is their exact quote on that. If we did it, it would cost too much money, and we wouldn't make enough profit off of sales.
Bullshit.
We will not
That's
re-release
bullshit.
our games after remasters, and that's why 7 is not re-released.
Bullshit.
I am taking a direct quote.
You know
Yes,
what?
but
I know it's
years
wrong.
ago, but
I know
years
it's
ago,
wrong.
Square Enix said we will release a redo of Final Fantasy VII
Oh, yeah.
when a game outsells it.
And there have been
Every
plenty
Final
that
Fantasy
have.
game since has outsold it, I think, except 10.
Except 13 too.
Except 13, 2,
Anyway.
and 10. And
10,
10, 2. And probably no, because everybody snatched up 13 thinking it was going to be, oh my god, it's amazing.
This is the redemption of Square Enix. The time has come.
No!
Hallways.
Actually,
Hallways
no.
everywhere.
Always everywhere.
8 and 9 did not outsell it. I do remember that.
8 did outsell 7.
Yeah, 8 did.
Did it?
Yes.
I
I thought 9 did too.
No.
Not
9 did
9
not
didn't.
outsell it.
8
Okay.
did outsell 7.
10 did not. 10-2 didn't. 12 may... No, I think
12
it was,
outsold other Final Fantasy games, but not 7.
and then
Or
I
8.
think 13 may have outsold it, just because the hype. The hype
the
was
hype for
behind
13.
it.
Exactly.
But they've had multiple games that have outsold. That was my point. They've had multiple games that have sold more copies than 7.
Yeah. But their whole claim, oh, it's too expensive for us to do
No,
No,
that.
it's not.
bullshit.
They did it with Crisis Core. They have you see Cloud in full CG,
I know.
talking, conversations with Zack. You see Sephiroth. They have all the character models.
Oh no, what's worse is at the end of their Final Fantasy VII movie, they're like, hey, here's an HD beginning
Yeah,
to
exactly.
Final
Here's
Fantasy VII.
and in Crisis Core. Here's the exact opening scene for 7
It's
in
obnoxious.
HD, in full CG, and all this wonder.
Well, the tech demo for the PS3 had the opening of Final Fantasy VII showing off what
Exactly.
the console can do.
Exactly.
Oh, this isn't going to be... You know what?
This
If
is
they
not
were
gonna be available.
If they re-release Final Fantasy VII with a new paint job like that, that damn game will get Game of the Year for whatever year they release it
That
in.
damn
Exactly.
game will get Game of 5 years just because
Game of 5
Look,
years.
everyone would buy it and you guys know
a
it.
year,
Exact-
2 years after
I
it's
would
been
buy
released.
it! I don't even
buy it.
like the game that much, and I would buy it!
I would go and get a PS3 for
I would
it.
get a PS3 for it. I've already made that commitment.
Kidding me?
to
I'm not
Sony.
going to go.
Sony,
into,
if
I'm not
you
going
are
to go into
listening,
what I'd be doing.
I will
or
buy
going to do
a
for
PS3.
to
Hell,
get
I will
that.
buy the new console to play this game if
Yeah.
you re-release it.
Yeah.
I would do it
Nobody didn't get Christmas gifts for me that year, but I'd go get it.
for the next 3 years, but I would still get it.
Because that's how much the damn thing will
No,
cost.
no,
I know,
if
right?
Sony does keep their production costs down, then it may. But we can't bank on that.
You're a funny man,
You
Mr.
are
Taft.
funny.
Thank
Man.
you.
The last one was 600.
You said my last name on the internet.
Oh my god, you're gonna get hacked. 4chan's gonna be on your doorstep.
Hi, my name's Pat.
Actually, 4chan will just look at you, scoff, and then 9gag will show up thinking you're the funniest person on the internet.
Oh, God.
Okay, let's stay out of the internet debates. Let's go back on to Square Enix.
So we can go back to
Square Enix, when it
to
comes
the failing RPGs.
at least we can say this. Square Enix, they're not as bad as Capcom. They don't fuck us over with DLC like Capcom does. Well, they did with 13 too. You did have to pay for the ending. That was like the
Everybody's
first
done
time
that.
they've really ever done that, though.
Everybody's done that. Pay
So-
for the ending of the game. Finish your stuff!
At least Mass Effect 3's real ending was free.
You know what I don't like about
It was a 2 gigabyte download, but it was free.
Actually, I just remembered something. I'm gonna jump back a little bit back to Square Enix and Chrono Trigger. I commend Square Enix on not just jumping at everything that people say. However, there were several people who created Chrono Trigger games that actually would have sold them to Square Enix that were brilliant. They could have just bought it and sold it and remade it during that time, and they would have made some money for a game they didn't even have to take time to
Exactly.
develop.
They didn't have to spend any development costs. Been like, hey, we're gonna sell this.
So I think Square Enix has just got their head up their ass, and that's about
Yes. That's
Just like Capcom.
pretty much what happens.
Giving me Mega Man.
So, is there anything else we need to say about Capcom?
it. Capcom?
Square Enix.
What's the difference?
What's the difference anymore?
I've wasted...
No, I'm not as angry at Square Enix as I am at Capcom. So
Well, that's because you're a Capcom fan.
exactly, it's because I'm a Capcom fan because they won't give me Mega Man games.
All I have left to say is that I've wasted too much time even saying their name.
Square Enix.
Yeah.
Squeenix. That's why we say Squeenix. It's just they need to get their shit together. They need to get back on the ball.
And you is that it? They just need to get back on the horse.
Just do what needs to be done. Go
They're
fix
Japanese.
your
They
problem.
don't have horses. They do
Fine.
dragons.
Fine. Get back on your dragons
Yeah.
and make good games again.
And that was a joke. I'm not that stupid.
Oh God. Well, now the entire internet knows. There goes our fan base.
Well, yeah, we're kind of winding down here on PWNcast, so I would actually like to take this opportunity to introduce something that, we may or may not get stuff about this. I hope that this becomes hilarious, but send us questions.
Oh God. Sing chorus.
Send us questions so we can answer them on the internet.
If there's something you want to know about myself or Matt
Or what
Hey.
our thoughts on other franchises and stuff like that.
I agree.
And,
Send us lots of questions, and I will get a 3rd-week contract. I will be here.
yeah,
yet
and I will
again.
come back for week 3.
So please send them in.
And just keep in mind, everybody that does send in questions, we're not going to be answering all the questions immediately. We're going to be waiting until they accumulate some.
And nor will
and then-
we answer all of them.
Yeah, exactly. And then we'll probably answer them in bulk.
Keep them intelligent.
Yeah, please do keep them.
You're asking a lot of the internet.
Okay, wait. I won't say intelligent. Keep them at least semi-knowledgeable.
Intelligible.
For the love of God, since I'm
Intelligible.
going to be the one reading these, for the love of God, please use punctuation.
No, you won't be the only one reading them. I can read them too.
I've got access to the YouTube account. What you gonna do?
Facebook.
What you gonna do?
Facebook.
Yeah, we got a Facebook page.
We do.
Yeah,
we have a Facebook page.
I'll post a link to it down below.
Yep.
So, I've been that one guy with the rage.
Yep.
We got 1 week contract Matt,
Cool.
and then belching Irishman Pat, and from all of us here at PWNcast, we wish you an awesome week. Yeah, we were a little bit late with this one, but hopefully we'll get back on the ball before Christmas.
Yep.
So, get all that shopping done and be safe this holiday season. Don't beat up too many people, and if you do, please use the proper weapon. I recommend a $7.88 machete from Walmart.
Yes, absolutely.
Or
Or a Louisville Slugger baseball
right
bat.
next to the Coleman Propane Grills. Only at your local Walmart. So,
And now we're sued.
good night! Good night, everybody!
Bye.
Get the fuck out! Everyone.
See you guys.
Come back next week.
Yay.
More shenanigans. Yay.
PWNcast.